vagina is a shell, a round, pink, tender shell, opening and closing, closing and opening. My vagina is a flower, an eccentric tulip, the scent delicate, the center acute and deep, the petals gentle but steady. I did not always know this. I learned it in the Vagina workshop. I learned this from the woman who runs the Vagina workshop, a woman who really believes in vaginas, a woman who really sees vaginas, a woman who helps other women see their own vaginas by seeing other women's vaginas. In the first session, the woman who runs the workshop asked us to draw a picture of our own unique, beautiful, fabulous vaginas. That's what she called it. She wanted to know what our own unique, beautiful, fabulous vaginas looked like to us. One woman, who is pregnant, drew a big mouth, screaming with coins spilling out. Another very skinny woman drew a huge serving platter with a sort of Devonshire pattern on it. I drew a huge black dot with little black squiggly lines around it. The black dot was equal to a black hole in space, and the squiggly lines were meant to be people or things or just your basic atoms that got lost there. I had always thought of my vagina as a sort of anatomical vacuum, randomly sucking up articles and particles and objects from the surrounding environment. I did not think of my vagina in practical or biological terms. I did not, for example, see my vagina as something attached to me. In the workshop, we were asked to look at our vaginas with hand mirrors. Then, after careful consideration, we were to report back verbally to the group what we had found. I must tell you that up until this point, everything I knew about my vagina was based on hearsay or invention. I'd never really seen the thing. I never really thought to look at it. It didn't occur to me. My vagina existed for me on some abstract plane. It seemed so reductive and awkward looking at it with our hand mirrors or our little shiny blue mats like we were in the workshop. I found it quite unsettling at first, my vagina. Like when you cut a fish open, and you discover this other bloody complex world inside, right there, underneath the skin. Oh, and the thing that surprised me the most were the layers, layers upon layers, opening into more layers. My vagina amazed me. I couldn't speak when it came my turn in the workshop. I was speechless. I had awakened to what the woman who ran the workshop referred to as vaginal wonder. I just wanted to lie there on my mat with my legs spread in the air, examining my vagina forever. It was better than the Grand Canyon. It was ancient and full of grace. It had the innocence and freshness of a proper English garden. Oh, it was funny. It was very funny. It made me laugh. It could open and close, hide and seek. Then, the woman who ran the workshop asked how many women in the workshop had had orgasms. 2 women tentatively raised their hands. I did not raise my hand, but I had had orgasms. I didn't raise accidental orgasms. They happened to me. They happened in dreams, and I would awake in splendor. They happened in water, mostly in the bath, once in Cape Cod. They happened on horses, bicycles, sometimes on the treadmill at the gym. I did not raise my hand because although I had had orgasms, I did not know how to make one happen. I thought it was a mystical, magical thing. I didn't want to interfere. It felt wrong getting involved. You know, contrived, manipulative. It felt Hollywood. The surprise would be gone, and then the mystery. Of course, the problem was the surprise had been gone for 2 years. I hadn't had an accidental magical orgasm for a very long time, and I was frantic. That's why I was in the Vagina workshop. And then, the moment had arrived that I had both dreaded and longed for. The woman who ran the workshop asked us to take out our hand mirrors again and to see if we could locate our clitoris. There we were, the group of us women, on our backs, on our mats, with our hand mirrors, searching for our spots, our locus, our center, our reason. And I don't know why, but I started crying. Maybe it was sheer embarrassment. Or maybe it was knowing that I had to give up the fantasy. The enormous, life-consuming fantasy that someone or something was going to do this for me. The fantasy that someone was coming to lead my life, to choose direction, to give me orgasms. I could feel the panic coming, the simultaneous terror and fear and panic. Oh, that I had avoided finding my clitoris, had rationalized it as mainstream and consumerist because I was in fact terrified that I did not have a clitoris. Terrified that I was one of those constitutionally incapables, one of those frigid, dead, dry, shut down, apricot tasting. Oh God! I lay there with my mirror, looking for my spot, reaching with my fingers. And all I could think about was the time when I was 10 and I'd lost my gold ring with the emeralds in the lake. How I kept diving over and over to the bottom of the lake, running my hands and fingers all over the stones and fish and bottle caps and slimy stuff, but never my ring. I never found my ring. Oh, the panic I felt. I knew I would be punished. The woman who ran the workshop, she saw my insane scrambling, my sweating and heavy breathing. She came over to me, and I told her, "It's gone! It's gone! I've lost my clitoris! I knew I should never have worn it swimming!" The woman who ran the workshop simply laughed. She calmly stroked my forehead. She told me that my clitoris was not something that I could lose. It was me, she said, the essence of me. It was both the doorbell to my house and the house itself. I didn't have to find it. I had to be it. Be it. Be my clitoris. I lay back. I closed my eyes. I put the mirror down. I watched myself floating above myself. I watched as I slowly began to approach myself and re-enter. I felt like an astronaut re-entering the Earth's atmosphere. It was very quiet, this re-entry. Quiet and gentle. I bounced and landed and bounced. I came into my own muscles and blood. blood and cells, and then I slid into my vagina. And suddenly, it was easy, and I fit. I was all warm and pulsing and ready and young and alive. And then, without looking, with my eyes still closed, I put my finger on what had suddenly become me. There was a little quivering at first, which urged me to stay. And then the quivering became a quake. And the quake an eruption. Layers dividing and subdividing, and the quake broke open into an ancient horizon of light and silence, which opened onto a plane of music and colors, and I felt longing and calling connection. As I lay there, thrashing about on my little blue mat. My vagina is a shell, a tulip, and a destiny. I am arriving as I am beginning to leave. My vagina, me.